Hello, my name's Andy, and this is an overview of my game yesterday with Convergence. So I took Father Lucant, and my battle group was 3 Conservators, an Inverter, a Corollary, and a Diffuser, and I had 3 units of Clockwork Angels, and then a unit of Optifex Directive for support, and some Accretion Servitors with the last 2 points.
I'm Jacob, and I'm playing Wurmwood for this game. I had Wurmwood with Megalith, Stalker, and Gorax, wrong guy in Snapjaw, maximum unit of Reeves with their command attachment, 2 units of Shifting Stones, 2 units of Sentry Stones, and Lanyssa Ryssyl. And the scenario we were playing was Incursion.
Jacob won the role to choose to go first or sides, and he opted to go second.
Yeah, I only really chose to go second, actually, thinking about it, just because I don't really like to put stuff, especially in Incursion, kind of like within contesting range on the end of my second turn if I go first, for you to kind of like just go and kill. So I like to kind of go into that scenario and hopefully on my feet turn was like the plan.
Yeah, I was quite happy to go first, at least, because I thought generally with Convergence, as they are fairly slow, with the list that I play are generally fairly slow. If you don't go first, you can get bullied out of scenario quite hard sometimes, I found.
I suppose that makes sense, yeah.
And with my deployment here, I chose to put the TEP on the right. That was any conscious decision I was making, just because there was a hill on your side that you could get cover from, and that's the only thing that the TEP really cares about. And the hill on my side is obviously on my right. So I thought I'd put the TEP there and put the rest of the battle group fairly central, making sure that the Inverter wouldn't have a straight line over the forest because he doesn't naturally have Pathfinder like the rest. And then my plan was then to kind of keep the Angels kind of out of danger a little bit at the start and maybe throw them in later to chaff things up. That was the thinking on my deployment, at least.
Oh, that makes sense, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of just wanted to use that forest in the middle just as a bit of cover for Cassius, Wurmwood, and the Stalker and that kind of stuff, and then obviously run Lanyssa kind of through the middle for the feet turn. Looking back at it, actually, I put Megalith opposite the TEP, thinking I could like stranglehold it and kind of keep it in control a bit. But in hindsight, actually, I think that might have been a bit of a mistake. I don't know what you think about that, because you don't necessarily need the extra dice to hit deal with the little drones that it spawns out to hit Megalith.
You don't really. I mean, you'll a lot of the time you'll probably hit. I mean, I'm rat 5, so I'm hitting him on 5s, so you can go full kind of 5 dice damage. You'll miss one out of every 4, I think. Probably that's what the average is, I'd imagine. So on my first turn here, I just wanted to create a bit of a space, run things forward. There was no point walking up with the TEP because I didn't need the drones for shield guarding, because it's not actually a shield guard, it's a sack pawn. So I could have, if you would have attacked the drones, or if you choose to attack the TEP even with the
Mannikins,
with the Sentry Stone guys, then I can kind of palm that off a little bit, which is kind of nice. So here I'm just kind of moving up, getting in a good position, or at least what I imagine is a good position, and just kind of taking it from there, really.
Yeah, I think it's quite good, actually. I mean, I was giving a bit too much respect to that TEP in hindsight, but I was kind of really kind of concerned that it'll kind of take off the Sentry Stones, or it'll start getting in and threatening my heavies, that kind of thing. So I was really conscious of where that thing ended up, and where it is now. It's quite far up, really. It won't necessarily be able to aim and shoot things, but it can certainly move up and shoot things next turn.
Yeah, I didn't answer your previous question about Megalith and the TEP. I think generally, because I out-threat him with the spray, because he threats, what, 9, is it, Megalith?
Yeah, just the 9 without any Hunter's Marks or any Hellmouth stuff, yeah.
The plan was really for me to try and actually get you Sentry Stones if I have a chance, and then maybe Megalith, or whoever really is the best target. Because sometimes people line them up where if I just shift my TEP to the side a little bit, I can get 2, and because they're both low defense, you don't really need to aim. So that's kind of a perfect scenario. But I think generally it's okay. I mean, the TEP can do a number on defense 10 heavies generally. So I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
And I think on the left now, I was just kind of moving things around to get in a reasonable position. That Inverter is obviously facing forward, as everybody should probably imagine, but the odds prohibited from going straight on. But I was quite confident coming into this, because on paper the Conservators are map 10 with positive charge and Hand of Vengeance if something dies, and have a fair few kind of infantry hanging around. So I thought I can probably deal with, the Stalker and stuff like that fairly reliably with them.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of stuff that realistically might like my Mannikins are probably going to go after anyway to trigger that Hand of Vengeance, like your Angels or your Optifex, kind of like trying to pick out some support model. So I suppose really there was a good chance I would have triggered that at some point.
I suppose so. It was my second game against Circle in Mk3. The other game I played was against Boulder 2, which is very different, with kind of a Wold Guardian and a Wold Wrath. So it's extremely difficult. Different even. It wasn't actually difficult. I won that game. It was very different, and the amount of angles that you've got with the Wurmwood list, with the potential of kind of double Hellmouth, not so much the teleport, but a little bit the teleport, and more kind of Lanyssa Ryssyl. There's a lot of things to process, and I think you can end up maybe clocking yourself if you're not used to the matchup, at least if you think about it too much. So in my mind, at least, I thought, well, I'm just going to kind of run it forward for a bit and kind of start paying attention, if you will, a little bit on my turn 2 and see what I can do there.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, here's where I ran Megalith behind the wall. Obviously, it doesn't help me against the spray, but I was sitting there thinking I'm out of aim range, so maybe you're going to have to put one of the bots on the one side to give you the extra dice to hit. But realistically, when you started shooting me next turn, you didn't really. It was a bit of a rubbish choice. But everything else is just running up. And the Reeves, I kind of like to run the Reeves up and feet first turn, with mini feet first turn with them. Sorry, just to get them into a position, because people don't really want to kind of overextend to go after models with cover that are immune to blast damage first turn, and it puts me in a position where I can then start shooting stuff feet, and then I might open when the feet drops. They're still in a decent enough position to start putting more shots into everything else. So
it's a good move. I think you did the right thing doing that. I think in hindsight for me though as well, I think it would have been good to deploy the TEP. If you see where the closest Conservator is kind of from the bottom, the one with his arm up in the air.
Oh yeah,
kind of switch positions with him and the TEP. I think that might have been smart then, because the TEP could have still threatened, the lower flag as the screen is the rightmost flag to me. And also I've got that extra heavy there, so you can probably reliably take that flag then. And then you'd have to put more than a Sentry Stone unit and Megalith to kind of contest or try and control it eventually. No,
you're probably right, actually. Yeah, if you'd have put that bit more, yeah, because then my Stalker and Snapjaw, in fairness, is probably under some serious threat from that from the sprays from that TEP. And I probably actually looking at that rapid growth, I probably should have put in front of Megalith. Thinking back at it again. Yeah,
I would have done that.
Yeah,
I mean, what is he? Defense 12? Is he?
Snapjaw
is 12.
Yeah, he's 12, 18. He's got fewer boxes, I think, than he's got 25, 28, something like that.
Yeah, it's the TEP, in my opinion, gets a lot less effective when you start hitting things at defense 12, because then you either have to get lucky and roll some hard sevens, or you have to put a dice to hit, which is obviously just lowering the damage output. And against Hordes, because obviously they work different to Warmachine, you have to really just trounce them in 2 turns, or they can easily get their systems back and start being just as effective. So I didn't want to take the risk. So even though Megalith's got more armor and more boxes, it's probably better still to try and get 2 rounds of shooting off on him. So what I'm doing there on the top, I'm just kind of having a look and weighing up a charge. I am in on the nearest 2 Reeves to me. So my plan here was, if I can put a couple of Fury, focus even on the diffuser, shoot them, boost to hit, boost damage, and then I can cycle that then around the rest of the battle grid. But then I realised that he defends 17. Even though you'd already told me, I thought, okay, this is going to be a bit tricky now. I'm Rat 3.
Yeah, I suppose we look though. What was it? Actually, no, 14 wasn't it? You needed.
Yeah, defense 17. Yeah, so I'd need 14s with luck, which is doable. But yeah, a bit tricky. So I realised that about now. That's kind of why I'm pausing. But then I kind of figure, well, I might as well shoot it anyway and boost just to cycle the focus around so everybody else can run. And if I hit it, great. If I don't, I'll just run up and engage. So that's my thinking here. And it's probably about now when I'm realising the threat is, in terms of if I go further, it's, I risk then, even if I feat losing some on attrition. I think that was my thinking. In hindsight, probably wasn't good. I probably could have just moved everything further up here and then feated. But
Yeah, on your feet turn, unless I go in with, I've got a primal things really to start killing it, and I don't really want to be doing it, I suppose, because with positive charge and the induction, you're so efficient that you can just send in a couple of jacks, with almost nothing from a Lucant, so then you'll probably easily take out the Stalker with one of those Conservators.
Probably could with Vengeance, definitely. Without, maybe not. It's a bit more dicey than without, but
yeah, I mean, this is the shots on Megalith, so you do about just over half the damage to him, I think. So I think that's when I realised my mistake of not putting the rapid growth in front, and then effectively giving your Megalith to shoot at with the TEP, when I probably should. I mean, I didn't really want to put the Stalker over there anyway, to be honest. Maybe I should have just left a Sentry Stone there and made you come a bit deeper in with the TEP for them to me to kind of teleport in there or something. I don't know.
I think you did okay. I mean, you're going to heal some next turn, so and you do have that Sentry Stone unit you can use to try and kind of damage the TEP. So it's a bit of a standoff, I think, down the bottom. I think it's fairly even in terms of. I don't think any of us are going to kind of control that flag there for a while.
No, not until the feats have gone, at least, I suppose.
Yeah, it's they're both pretty beefy things there.
Yeah, because at least I know next turn and when because obviously you're going to feat this turn, and when I feat, at least Megalith's safe for another round, I suppose.
So yeah, spoiler, I do end up feating this turn.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a bit concerned about the threat ranges that you've got. If I stand back too much, because I only threat 9 naturally with my jacks and 11 with the kind of pseudo hunter's mark from the diffuser. If I stand back too much and you figured that out, then you can just kind of have free reign then, dude. Helm modes and more shooting and things, and it's very easy for you to start scoring next turn. So I probably don't move up enough. That's probably one thing I do. Given that I had it in my mind I was going to feat, I should have moved everything up even further. I think a couple of inches may have made a difference.
Yeah, probably actually, because I don't, like I said, I don't really want to go in with the Stalker against armor 23, 24, is it? It's 24 on the Conservators, isn't it?
Yeah, and the Inverter's 24. I probably should have done that, but again, it was just I hadn't really done the maths too much in terms of exactly what you can get done if you have a bunch of heavies, even if they are heavy armor. How much you can actually get done in terms of killing. And in hindsight, you probably can do a bit less than I thought you could have done, or I was wary that you could have done more. So I probably should have done that. But
yeah,
my general view here as well was just kind of don't give too many things away and try and win the attrition. Like I thought that Conservator at the top was going to be safe from the Reeves, unless you sent in a Stalker or something, which I didn't imagine you'd do, given that there's still 3 heavies and Lucant, kind of in the middle. So that was my thinking about now.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I was looking at it thinking I could teleport the Stalker over and like throw it away and capture the flag or something, but it was just there were too many heavies over there for me to leave my Stalker over there essentially in front of 4 of them. That you just stand him up, chuck him in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's going on now? Am I just kind of killing some Reeves at this stage, or I think I'm just faffing around now?
Yeah. The Angels, I was quite surprised that you didn't send those Clockwork Angels into the Reeves just to jam them up a bit in melee. I think you took some shots, didn't you, here at this point?
I did. Yeah. I was considering that, and that probably would have been a better play. I don't think I utilised the Angels as good as I could have done this game. I thought, because I think I had deflection up at this point after I feeded. I think I was on a couple of focus, and I had. Oh no, I didn't have deflection up. I think it looks like I'm camping 4 there. So what I probably should have done is put deflection up, and then that makes it their defense 18 then from shooting rather than 16, which may have made a difference when you end up shooting them after.
Yeah, it would have actually. I think because I think I was tried to go in with like 4-man pods with one of them aiming, which takes them up to rat 11 or something. So I was only in 5s to hit, and then with deflection I need 7s, and suddenly it's not very good, is it? Really, I suppose.
I think I could have used the Angels a bit better here. I mean, generally, my plan for my Angels in games is to kind of throw them in front of heavies and cause you issues in terms of orders of activation in needing to remove them, so you can get heavies in on my heavies, without needing to trample. But I'm noticing with Hordes, they have so many ways to do that, whether it's things like Rungai or even Gorax and things just coming up from the back. As where in my experience, I've noticed in Warmachine they don't have enough kind of spare, shall we say, big shots at the back just to kind of clear a bit of chaff. So I think, in my experience at least, now I could be wrong, but some of their value goes down a little bit, I think, in Hordes. Or indeed, I probably just could have played them better. I don't know.
They're pretty good. The speed at which you could just kind of fly and contest the flag when you need to, with a model that's cheap and annoyingly hard to kill from ranged attacks. They're pretty good for the. Are they 5 points for the unit?
They're 5 points for 3, yeah, they are. So I was also kind of weighing up just kind of doing just that here and just kind of throwing them in front of my main line. And then thinking, is it going to be enough defense 18 to kind of stop you trivially killing a lot of them fast with the sprays? And I don't know. Because I was thinking I could throw them in there early now. And then, yes, you will lose, some sprays possibly to kill, which would save my heavies in a way. But I felt my heavies were pretty safe at armor 24, even with the boosted 10. So I thought there's no point doing that. Because even if I throw them in now, they're going to be the best target anyway, so you'll just naturally ignore my heavies. But I didn't even factor in, I guess you could have Hellmouth them anyway if I would have put, say, if you see where the trench is now, if I would have threw some around that type of area just to kind of add an additional layer of roadblock. The Hellmouth, I guess, is a good answer to them as well. So
yeah, because I suppose I could really just chuck a Mannikin in there and Hellmouth the Mannikin, and not really needing to kind of go for the big numbers of the Angel itself. Because I think I was debating here actually going into some of the heavies, like teleporting the Stalker forward, maybe Hellmouthing it, dragging you into me. But I think at the armor 24, I think I gave up on that idea.
Yeah, and like you said, I think we discussed it in the game as well. You'd probably have to primal to take one out.
Yeah.
And even if you did take one out, then you've got a Stalker that's not going to do anything for another 2 turns, kind of. So I could happily kind of ignore him for a turn. And he's by far, well, probably not by far, but slightly the hardest hitting thing in your army. Because
I think he is really.
Primal Snapjaw.
Primal Snapjaw goes up pretty high, I think. Probably actually he goes up to about the same. But he doesn't have the reach that the Stalker has.
Yeah, because you can't Primal Snapjaw. I don't think you can. Can you encircle them?
Yeah, you can. It's Primal friendly. It's not for any faction.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So he can be primaled, and he starts at 18, 15. So he'll go up to 20, 17 on his 2 attacks.
Okay.
So he does hit hard, but like I say, he doesn't have the reach that the Stalker has.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So he does hit pretty hard. Yeah. I think the Shifting Stone, Sentry Stone, sorry, I was trying to get lucky really and try and clear out some of the Angels, because if I couldn't aim to get them and I've got to move and I'm at 4 with the spray at that point and I'm needing 14s or something ridiculous. Oh no, you didn't have deflection, was it? It was 12s.
I did, yeah, it was 12. So it would have been 14. It would have been 16 on the Angels naturally, because they have an innate ability that gives them +2 defense.
Yeah, they've got is it Blade Shield or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know the name.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name of that. So this is where you're kind of responding to my feet and just trying to get some of my support stuff off. Again, in hindsight, looking at the small details, probably should have kept that Angel there in the forest a little bit further back, and some of the Accretion Servitors that are just kind of behind the tep there, because they weren't really serving any purpose at this point being there. They had no business being there. So I should have shuffled them back a couple of inches. That may have made a bit of a difference.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't really have any targets for the Mannikins really on your feet turn. So all I'm doing now is I'm just trying to. I know I'm going to feat. So my plan is, can I get Lanyssa to advance and Winter Storm in range of all your Warjacks with Pathfinder, so then I can push my heavies right up in front of your line basically, and then give you the option of, which gives me more options, I suppose, the turn afterwards, because then I'm in a position where you might. I don't know if you could have killed Lanyssa, but if you can't, then I'm on the midline. And there's not a lot you could really do, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. The no Pathfinder combo and having the huge forest around you. I expected the huge forest. I didn't expect the no trample thing as well.
Yeah,
the lack of Pathfinder kind of prohibiting the range that could go. Where is Lanyssa at the moment? I'm trying to see her.
She's where the Stalker is.
Yeah,
she's right behind him. The dice just hit her on the back.
Okay. So in hindsight, then maybe I could have tried a pot shot with the diffuser the turn before.
The problem is, I think she has prowl, so at the moment she's stealthed anyway.
Okay, yeah, she'd been in the forest, wouldn't she? So
yeah,
that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, and I mean here I'm trying to clear out those Angels. I think the one pod on the right failed to kill that one that's still left with 2 of their shots, and then I cleaned up the other 2, which I don't think made a massive difference in the end, I suppose, but I did kind of just want to get rid of them because I didn't want lone angels roaming around and potentially contesting any flags if I can clear one of them.
Well, I was thinking here, if I didn't put the angels in to kind of add to the units that are contested, you could, in theory, send that stalker in, kill that conservator, and then even with primal, you may have enough with the shooting and stuff as well to have one focus left over to lightning strike, kind of when the clock is kind of to keep him safe.
Oh, so
you'd be able to score there potentially, and I didn't want you scoring just before your feet turn. Was my thinking.
No, yeah, because if I'd have scored on this turn with Lanyssa, I don't know what you could have maybe got the inverter to contest if you ran.
Yeah, I mean maybe I could have done, but I just kind of didn't want that. So again, in hindsight, I don't know. It probably would have been worth just saying you're not going to score here and you're not going to get my angels unless you send a stalker in. So in hindsight, again, probably should have kept the angels back a bit, or like you said, threw them in earlier and tried to get some damage and do that way. But
yeah, maybe. I think I just chucked on a Curse of Shadows onto the inverter just in case for next turn. Because if I did go in, at least I've got it, and then I can cycle it around if I need to, and then just setting up the shifting stones around. I think I managed to get the Stalker in both sets of stones and Megalith in one of the sets of stones, so I've got lots of options next turn as well.
Yeah,
it's and true. I've obviously feated.
It's true, and I think this is where you kill some. I think soon you have a go at those angels down the bottom. I mean, the feat is so strong, but I was kind of hoping naively, just before you actually feated, I thought, oh, he's left Megalith and the Sentry Stone next to each other here. I can just aim for one of the Mannikins and kill them both, but wasn't to be.
No, because I think I left Megalith more than 8 inches away, so you can move your 5, but then you can't see any further than the 3 into the forest to get me with the spray. So
yeah, that was you measuring there.
Yeah, just desperately making sure that I actually did that correctly. I didn't leave him.
And this is where it's dawning on me that I say dawning on me. I kind of expected it to be like this in a way, but then when I found out that Lanyssa was removing Pathfinder, anyone that started within kind of 8 or 9 inches, wherever it is, that was a bit tricky. Then I think I spent a little bit too much time in the tank here trying to figure out the puzzle and to see if there's a way I could shoot her or something.
Well, you're trying to see if you could get a Clockwork Angel onto her to kill her, I suppose. Because if you do kill her, you've got a handful of Warjacks. It's just the Conservators have Pathfinder, don't they? So you've got a couple of Warjacks that could maybe advance and get into Snapjaw or trample over and get into the Stalker kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we worked out in the end, because normally their threat is 17 from shooting because they move 7 and shoot 10. But with the forest, obviously they can move 7 and
shoot 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very low. So I was even doing the wrong.
Yeah, because we were measuring 13, weren't we, for the
I think
threat?
we were for a while. And then even factoring the concealments as well, you'd be defense 17 from a 2-man combined range attack, which would have been about 7.
Yes, easily roll that 10 on the 2 dice.
So it'd still be pretty tricky to get off. And I think now, have I just clocked it over to you? I think I have. I don't know. I think I'm still.
No, I think you're still trying to figure out if you can kill Lanyssa. I think.
Yeah. Still in a mental quagmire of doom here, thinking how do I get out of this pit? And I think in the end, I think I end up just shuffling everything over to the left a little bit and saying, I'm going over here. I don't really know what I was saying. I was going to say something profound then. Just shuffling over to the left and hoping that maybe you wouldn't be able to get kind of the full power behind your force into me at one time, perhaps, and maybe kind of force you to make a choice whether you kind of split your force to go for the battle group and a little bit for the TEP, or just kind of see what I could do. I didn't really just want to stand there in front of you and shuffle around a little bit for absolutely no reason.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, it
is tricky. Again, in hindsight, maybe I should have left the feat until you feated. I mean, would you have feated if I wouldn't have feated first? Would you have waited, or?
I think I don't know. I mean, to some extent, I've got some threat range on your heavies at least, but I think the TEP could cause me some serious issues because if I didn't feat then, maybe you kill Megalith. If I don't get him out of the way, or you go in and do some damage to Snapjaw. I think I've almost got to feat to stop you taking one of my heavies away.
Yeah, maybe. I'm
And
curious.
at least then I can feat and get up the board. But then I suppose, yeah, if you hadn't feated, I feat knowing the fact that when my feat does fall away, I'm going into armor 24 heavies, and I'm not going to do a lot. So maybe I'm almost forced to hold it.
Perhaps. I think part of the reason I feated before as well, that I was just concerned that because I haven't got a way to reliably kill Cassius in this list from ranged, that you'd be able to kind of run him forward, arc a few Hellmouths onto my heavies. Obviously, in a scenario where they're not under feet, bring them forward and then probably kill them without being able to prot watch out, because obviously they'd be so far away from Lucant. That was my fear, that you'd be able to kill an Inverter and a Conservator. Then you can feat, of course, and probably sprint back a little bit. And then I'd be 2 heavies down, facing your feet. And yes, I'd have the option for me to feat after, but I don't think I'd be able to get enough work done then, given I'd be down a little bit on attrition, and it's very easy for you to screen your models, I guess, with Mannikins after and such. So I didn't fancy that reality.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, because I was considering doing some kind of weird Hellmouth stuff to get onto a heavy when you had feated. So if you hadn't feated, that probably would have been... I probably would have looked at it a bit more seriously, because at least they're only armor 20 rather than 24, and I can go in and kill one without having to primal if I put Curse of Shadows on it or get a free charge or something. Although I don't really want to be using Lanyssa for the free charge, really.
Yeah.
If I'm going to feat, so...
And I think you'll always have those options against this list, because I don't have the range threat to
kind of get rid of Lanyssa or...
Not really that. I mean, that is true as well, but I don't have the range threat to force you to camp a lot, I don't think. As long as you're relatively smart with your threat ranges of the TEP. I don't have the ability to threaten. So you don't need to camp. So you can, drop a lot of your souls and fury and such to do kind of ambitious helmets and such.
Yeah, because as long as I stay 15 inches away from it, or more than 15 rather, then you can't get me with the TEP. And so you don't have any of the ranged attacks, do you? Besides the Clockwork Angels or...
Well, the Diffuser's got a pair 11 at rat 3, so it's...
Well, you won't struggle to hit defense 5, will you? I suppose if you get some...
Probably true. Yeah, you could probably hit Wurmwood.
Yeah, get Wurmwood good.
Yeah. So here I just shuffled over a bit. I didn't really want to kill any of your Mannikins. Maybe the wrong decision. I was thinking you've got some fury there. You could pay and bring them back and get aiming bonuses and such, and just make it even easier for you next turn.
It's better if you don't kill them. If I've got 3 left, if you don't kill one, then you're either forcing me to kill one if I want to bring it back in a better position, or just living with the fact that obviously in this position can't aim, and you probably better not killing just the one, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so here I'm measuring to see if I can get Lucant with an assassination.
Yeah.
I think initially I wasn't very confident with it.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was thinking he's probably safe here. I was thinking, but he's far enough away that he's fairly safe. But I didn't factor in at this stage the moving into a teleport.
Yeah,
because that doesn't prompt Watcher.
Yeah, and I think I got a couple of souls last turn as well. Because of some Reeves that you killed. So I'm sitting on about 9 Fury, which is enough for a boosted Hellmouth and a boosted Curse of Shadows.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. But I think I'll move on to some do the simple stuff first to kind of get it out of the way. So I'm trying to clear all the... You've jammed me with your Angels to stop me getting the Stalker through if I want to get a charge, or Snapjaw onto the Conservator that's in front of him. So I'm just trying to clear them out, really.
Yeah, I did a little bit, but again, the ability for you just to kind of boost to hit with Mannikins and things, just things like that, it just makes it really easy for you to clear them. So it didn't kind of work.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, I suppose in melee I'm map 5 and you're only defense. I say you're only defense 14. So a boosted hit should get you. So yeah,
they've got no armor if you actually hit them.
Yeah, what armor are they actually? About 11 or 12?
12, 16 on feet. Yeah. So here I was just kind of hoping that you'd go for an attrition and maybe try and get a Conservator and maybe 2 Conservators and see what happened there. And then I thought I could maybe open the game up here because I've still got the TEP. I can still out-threaten that heavy, so I should eventually win the attrition at the bottom,
Oh, well,
and
Megalith
maybe on the
versus the
top as
tech,
well.
yeah.
I was thinking he's only really got kind of a Stalker and Snapjaw. If I can kill those two, or Rungai, wherever it is, the crocodile, I think it is Snapjaw. If I can kill those two,
Yeah.
probably all right. To be honest, I can probably kind of wade my way through this.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to use wrong guy here to the Clockwork Angel that the Mannikin couldn't kill, so he's in a. The Tep can easily just take him off the board next turn, I suppose, and then there goes Snapjaw. So you don't even have to attack him, Snapjaw itself, if you kill wrong guy.
It's true. It's true. It's also worth noting as well, as you'll see, the clock is on my time here. I think we forgot to flick it back over to Jacob when I had a free strike or something. So
yeah, I think
the clock's a little bit out. It's about 5 or 6 minutes on the.
Yeah, because I swapped
the
over
wrong
to
way.
the free strike, like you say, and then didn't swap it back over, but you do notice it in a couple of minutes' time.
Yeah, I noticed it when it's at about 22, 23.
Yeah.
But it's inconsequential anyway.
Yeah.
But that was my thinking anyway. I was thinking if I can just kind of probably not die this turn. In hindsight, Lucant could have been a bit further back, perhaps. But then I was thinking if he's further back, then you can charge my heavies. You don't have to port in. Because the Watcher threat isn't there. And you can, with Lanyssa, you can charge for free. You can probably get even more damage done. And more work done because you've got that extra attack that's boosted, essentially.
Yeah. No, yeah, because if we get the free charge with Lanyssa, then I think actually I tried to get the free charge on the Conservator in the trench for Snapjaw, because I think he leaves on about 4 boxes left, didn't he?
I think he leaves it on 4 or 6, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one good thing about Convergence. Their columns, they're quite spread out. So even though you were doing a lot of damage to me,
I didn't really take anything out, did I? I think I
not until very late. Yeah. They're quite good like that. Convergence are. I've been told that they're better than other Warmachine factions. So I was quite happy when you didn't kill him. I thought, that'll be all right. That will. But then you shot him later, I think, with the Reeves, and you ignored cover with something. Oh, was that just because you've got Hunter? Is it?
Yeah, the Reeves have got Hunter, and then they can do combined ranged attacks into melee because they've got the Chieftain gives them War Tempered, so they can CRA into melee.
Okay.
Which I don't think I've ever used before up until now.
Okay.
But it's one of those kind of situational things that would be really good, and in this case, it was actually quite useful to be able to put in a decent power shot into something that's only got a handful of boxes left.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, like it was still basically fully functional. If it went to another turn, spoiler.
I think the only thing that was out was the induction node, which I can obviously heal with the Optifex Directive, and it doesn't really matter if the induction node's out for Convergence. It's different to Warmachine because if the Cortex is out, you obviously don't get power up, so it's not that bad for here. And the mechanic was just within 6 inches. That's kind of where I left him. Yeah,
because you can walk up, heal it, and then obviously just induct later in the turn, can't you? So.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So here, I think you're.
I think I've basically gone through all the easy stuff and like kind of done the combined range attack into melee, activated all the Mannikins to clear out some Clockwork Angels, and I think I'm basically left with Cassius, Wurmwood, the Stalker, the Gorax, and Megalith. So I'm left with my battle group basically, and now I'm considering going in for the assassination. Because I think, well, we've got the laser out and had a look, but I think if I Hellmouth the Diffuser,
yes,
Lucant gets dragged in and doesn't hit the Inverter. And then if I can put my Stalker within 3 inches of the Diffuser at the same time, I can drag them both in, so I'm in melee range. And if I can nail the Curse of Shadows, is it enough? Because I know he's got 21 boxes. He's still 14, 17 base.
He's 14, 17 base, and I've got 3 or 4 transfers, I think, at the moment. I think it's 3. In hindsight, again, I could have put the Clockwork, the Corollary in a position so you wouldn't have been able to get as favourable a Hellmouth on the Diffuser.
Yeah, probably.
But again, my thinking here, I had deflection up. I thought, well, he's in a trench. He's got deflection up, so his defense 18 from ranged. So it should be tricky-ish to get a Hellmouth off on him, unless indeed you can just run your art node up in the trench.
Yeah.
Kind of changes it a bit there. But
then you're going into 12. Is it 12 normally?
Yes, it's 12. So with deflection, it's 14. Yeah. So you needed
I needed a 7 with the Hellmouth.
Yeah.
And I've got enough to boost it.
Yeah, I think you. Well, at the moment you're primarily in the Stalker, aren't you?
Yeah, at the moment I'm putting a proxy base down just to make sure that where I'm going to teleport the Stalker to, actually works for the Hellmouth I've got planned, basically. So I'm just measuring if it's making sure it's within 8. And I think I've already primaled him there. There's the token next to him. So the Gorax has already primaled him. I'll move within 3. And then this is where I'll run a Cassius up, I suppose. And I think we check the rules for trenches in a sec just to make sure if I touch the trench, I ignore that benefit.
Yeah, we thought initially you had to be completely in the trench. That was our suspicion. Or it was even, do you even ignore it still? Because I think in Forest, you still...
I think you still get the concealment, don't you?
Even if both parties are in. But on this one, we've only to touch the trench.
Yeah.
But again, in hindsight, I could have like measured your threat a bit better and thought about that. But you'd have still been able to get a Hellmouth off on something. Even I mean, I'd have had to keep Lucant really far back to prevent that.
As long as Lucant's not within 3 inches of any of his own models, which again I suppose limits your watcher. I can't target your models, but then I can always run my own model and manufacture my own Hellmouth, I suppose.
Well, you could have. I think you could have run Cassius a bit further than you did.
Yeah.
So you could have just run him within 6 inches of Lucant, even if he was a bit further back. I think you could have still done that without coming in reach of my guys there and got him. So even if he was a few inches back, I think the better play here for me was just to put the Corollary in between the Diffuser and Lucant. I think that might have been a difference there.
Yeah, that probably would have been enough, actually, to be honest, because I don't get within 1 inch of Lucant, but here I've cast the Curse of Shadows and I've hit.
You hit that as well, didn't you? You needed I was defense 16, so you hit that on a 9, didn't you?
Yeah, boosted 9, and then I got a boosted 7 for the Hellmouth.
Yeah.
Now I'm just rolling the Hellmouth damage on everyone that's in the 3-inch AoE that gets placed afterwards. The Stalker's actually where that proxy base is as well, right in front of him. So he's not actually sitting out in the open.
Yeah, he's on the proxy base.
Yeah, and I'm on dice +5 and all my attacks on Lucant, which I think start now.
Down to armor 15 now, which is pretty sad times.
Yeah, 6 is the hit. So I was kind of hoping I hit them all, but I've had so many games where I needed 6s to hit and failed a couple, and then it's just something lives.
Yeah.
And it's pretty all in at this point, I think.
You hit a lot. I think you hit on all of them, but you have a Fury left anyway, so I think you should have killed him. You did kill him, but if anything, I think if the Curse of Shadows wouldn't have gone off, or if the Hellmouth wouldn't have gone off, or if you might have had a couple of... One bad dice roll would have made it really dodgy. I think one missed a hit. But like I said, he still had another one spare. But it was an interesting game. It was a nice learning experience for me to play Wurmwood. I think... And I thought this before the game, I discussed with you. I actually think Iron Mother might be a reasonable drop with a lot of assimilators, because you can kill the Sentry Stones from ranged. You ignore some of the forest.
Yeah, you can get around submerged on Fungi and Snapjaw and take them out pretty easily as well.
I think that makes a really interesting game then. You can stop a lot of tricks. So next time, I think that might be my drop. But thanks again, Jacob.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. And thanks for volunteering to do all this commentary.
No problem at all. Speak to you soon.
See ya.